and welcome to the show. Now today we are going to be making something that is a staple in my life. I used to serve it at one of my restaurants actually a year ago, and it went really well. It is gourmet comfort food to the max. It is called our spicy sriracha beer chicken soup. So it's a lot of things all put into something really nostalgic like chicken noodle soup. So we're kicking it up a notch with all of these great ingredients, and we're starting back here on the stove. We have some oil heating up in a pan. I love to use extra virgin olive oil, however it doesn't have a super high smoking point, so I like to cut that down with a little bit of vegetable oil as well. So we're going to start with our starch. I have about a dozen baby red potatoes here, and we cut them in sixes, and we're going to add those right in back here on the stove. Make sure to get that oil nice and hot, but not too hot where anything's gonna burn. So I'm gonna give those a quick little stir, move them around in the oil. And we're gonna be going in with carrot and some bell peppers. Now you guys can use celery if you want to. I'm not a huge fan of celery in this dish, but if you really like celery or fennel, anything like that, you know, you can use that as well. And I love red bell peppers. I find they're sweeter and much tastier than your regular green pepper. But if you like it spicy, you could use chili peppers, you could use jalapenos. You know, a lot of the recipes that I make they're very versatile. I like to add my own twist on things, but that doesn't mean that you can't take this recipe and add your own twist on it. So I'm going to give that a stir as well. So all you have in there is your 3 veg, okay? And we're going to season that really nicely with salt and pepper for now. A little bit lighter on the pepper than the salt. Everybody gets really afraid of salt a lot of the time. They think that they're going to make something salty, so they either add none or they add a whole lot. And I always like to season in layers. So we seasoned with salt and pepper right here. As we keep adding, we're going to keep going and layer our flavors. So we're going to give that about 2 minutes, let everything sweat out a little bit, and then we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes. We have our peppers, our baby reds, and our carrots that are just kind of starting to get soft. Now what I want to do now, I have 3 little cloves of garlic and 2 medium-sized shallots, which is basically almost like a small red onion. You want to make 2 slits into that, run your knife across it. The garlic, when you press it down like that, that lets out all of its essential natural oils. Okay, so we got that going in, and the reason why we didn't add it in right away with all of our other veggies, simply because they're cut a lot smaller and a lot finer, and that would burn when your potatoes and your carrots especially would still be pretty hard. So you want to give that about a minute or so, and while we're doing that, I have some herbs here that I'm going to chop up. I have thyme. You guys can run your hands across it and get the little sprigs, but I want to add the whole thing in. You could use also a cheesecloth or something to kind of keep them together, but what I like to do, throw them in, let them kind of go around, release their fragrance, and then you just pull them out when the soup is just about ready. So this is some nice basil here. I like to leave little stems on. I find a lot of flavor is in there. Roll them up, just like that, and then make really nice little ribbons. I'm going to cut this guy off. Really nice little basil ribbons. Cut them fine. If you're not super good with a knife, it's not that big of a deal. Just call it rustic, and you'll get by. So we're adding those in. Beautiful. Don't let anything go to waste. These things are amazing, these like bench scrapers. Right in there. Give that a stir around. And we're going to go in with ketchup, about a cup of it. And I know a lot of you are thinking like, why would you add ketchup into a soup? But it's natural sweetness, first of all. Second of all, it is adding a whole backup flavor to this entire thing. And you don't want to add all hot sauce, which is the next thing I'm going to be adding. About a half a cup of that. I'm going in with a little bit of sriracha sauce, spicy, about a tablespoon or so of that. Also, a pinch of chili flakes, a little bit of dried oregano. Now why I didn't add fresh oregano. Dried oregano, unlike a lot of other herbs, it actually has more flavor and maximizes all of this deliciousness in this pot better than if it were fresh. Much more intense. So just let it go for about 2 more minutes and we'll be golden. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes and this is what you got. This nice little thickened vegetable herb medley, just like that. And this is your base to all of the goodness and flavor that you're gonna have. So, now what I wanna do, what is going to separate this from any other kind of spicy soup, we're doing a spicy sriracha beer chicken. So you wanna go in 1 whole can, so about 350 milliliters or so of your favorite beer. You can use craft beer, light beer, pale ale, red lager, whatever you have. Give that a good stir. And really what you wanna do is almost reduce this now by at least 1/3, but up to 1/2. So you're gonna get rid of all that carbonation and you're just gonna be left with a little bit of that taste of your favorite hoppy beer. So we're gonna turn up the heat, reduce, takes about 10 minutes, maybe even up to 15, and then we're gonna add in our stock and the rest of our ingredients. Okay guys, so it's been about that 10 minutes. Our beer has reduced down a little bit, and to the touch, your potatoes now should be just about ready, just about tender. So what you want to do, go in with this chicken broth here. This is just stock in a box, and it's going to become that nice reddish brown flavor bomb of a soup. Give that a nice stir, mix it through, and we're going to give this about a half an hour on a medium heat. Let it come to a boil, and then we're going to add in a shortcut pasta. You guys can use anything you have in your cupboard. Just don't use anything too big because it can swell up if you're going to be eating the soup the next day. Looking good, so we're going to bring that up again. And then we're going to finish off this delicious twist on a classic. Okay guys, so this is at its pretty much peak boiling point, around 10 minutes from being done. Now the longer this sits, the better it gets. I'm going to add in about 2 cups of gemelli pasta. You guys can use anything shortcut. This takes about 8 minutes until al dente. So throw that in there. If you like more pasta, add as much as you want, really. And then let that go for the 8 minutes. Then we're gonna add in our delicious rotisserie pulled chicken. Alright guys, so your pasta is just about done. This has thickened and is pretty much ready. So what you wanna do 2 minutes before, we're going to add in our corn here. You can add in corn and peas. You can add in whatever you want. I find corn adds a lot to this dish, some natural sweetness, and everybody loves a whole lot of corn. So about 2 cups or so of that right in there. Now that's going to bring the heat down just a bit because it is frozen. So it might stop boiling, but it won't take long to go right back up there. And also we're going to add in 1 small rotisserie chicken's worth of chicken, or what you can do is roast off about 4 chicken breasts, cut them nice, and add them in just around this time as well. And you want to make sure to add in that chicken just about the last 2 minutes so it doesn't get stringy or gummy. So that's nice and chunky and delicious. So like I said, 2 minutes or so, and we're done, and we're gonna plate. Okay guys, so it's home stretch time. Our soup looks to die for. I can't wait to dig in. So, a couple of final things. You want to get yourself a good ladle. Any type of soup bowl will do. Soup isn't hard to plate. All you got to do is make sure you get a little bit of everything in there. So when I'm stirring that around, I'm digging right to the bottom and getting a little bit of everything. So I like to go right down, get a lot of that soup mix in there, and then I kind of like to skim across the top and get a nice healthy amount of broth. Look at that. Just want to make sure there's nothing on the sides there. So that is ready to go right now. But what you could do, if you want to, grab some spring onions, just take off the top and the bottom, do some nice thin little chops, just like so. Use as much or as little as you want to. It's really good for color. Right on the top there. And like I said, I used to serve this in my takeaway restaurant. We had a little gourmet takeaway in a residential area, and this thing flew. So look at all of those colors. Look how good that looks. But what goes better with beer than a good cheddar cheese? So Go right over the top with that. This is just a microplane zester. You guys can, chop it. You can use a grater. Anything will do. Look at that. Give it a little hit. It doesn't come right off. Just kind of pull it off. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, final touch. I want to go over that with a tiny little bit of black pepper. Okay? And I'm going to side that with your favorite hot sauce. You can add a little bit more on the top if you want to. And you guys can add bread or crackers, but I have these nice, fresh little pretzels, and what goes better with beer and cheese than a pretzel? I mean, come on. Favorite beer, right on the side. Who wouldn't want that meal? And you can use that for lunch, dinner, you're having people over, game day. You can have that for a guy's night, a ladies' night, or your own personal night with yourself. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to dig into it. Thank you for watching, and we'll definitely see you again.